Καλησπέρα και καλώς ήρθατε. Το επόμενο...
Good afternoon and welcome. The next topic that we are going to develop pertains to community pharmacies and chains, a qualitative approach. In other words, this issue pertains to the qualitative aspect of cooperations that can actually bring about added value. Listening to all the very interesting presentation of today, and I would like to tell you, by the way, that we have around 2,500 viewers on the web per minute, by the way. So that means that the message is a message listened by many people out there. We are actually helping them to learn more about the issues of their concern. But now we need to remind you of something. The first is that we need to take into account that we should not discuss the deregulation or non-deregulation of the pharmaceutical market, since this question has already been answered. I will not take much of your time, but allow me to remind you a couple of things. Directorate for Financial and Enterprise Affairs, Competition Committee of the EU and OECD, 18th of April 2014. The study pertained to competition issues on distribution of pharmaceuticals, number one. Number two, World Health Organization. Another study issued on March 2012, entitled Impact on Pharmacy Regulation, the Regulation in European Countries. There have been also several other studies by IMS. Now, these people did not try to talk about deregulation, about competition, and how competition will be very beneficial since it will lead to a reduction of prices and bring about only advantages. No, they actually measured in qualitative and quantitative terms whether everything that had been said before the implementation of such deregulation procedures actually brought about the expected results. And these studies also showed that these theories about deregulation offering many benefits and advantages actually were proven wrong thanks to these studies. No benefits actually ensued from the deregulation of the markets. So that is why there's no point talking about deregulation or non-deregulation of the market, since this question has already been answered by the World Health Organization, by the study by the Director General of Competition, by OECD, but also by various other studies by IMS and other international bodies. This was the first thing I would like to remind you of. So, in order to proceed and in order to remind all of us that there's no point being flexible in an environment that is dominated by hypocrisy. In other words, when you don't have by your side the wholesale market, when you're actually playing a game that is not based on equality and equal rules for all, then you don't expect much, since there is hypocrisy all over. And this hypocrisy is not based on healthy competition, but on something false, something hypocritical, that does not abide by the European principles. And of course, the Europe that we all fell in love with, I'm 42 by the way, and we fell in love with this Europe in the past, the Europe that was based on humanitarian values, on human rights, a wonderful story, in other words. And this story talked about freedom of education, freedom of expression, democracy, and so on and so forth. But now this Europe of the past has been replaced by a different kind of Europe that has set profit and money over the social state, that has set wealth over and above rules that could guarantee the protection of certain principles and values. A Europe that promotes rules and regulations that have nothing to do with the prosperity and well-being of the community. So I believe that this Europe cannot actually draw the interest or the attraction of my generation and of the young generation, since this is a Europe that is strange to us. And where am I taking this? I just want to say that the Europe of the past was a Europe based on values and principles that were stipulated in the Treaty of Rome in 1957. But we are moving far away from these values and principles, and therefore I seriously doubt whether my or the future generations will be inspired by this changed Europe, and this would be a shame. Thank you. And I would like